All right, ready to dive in today. We're going high tech, talking about using satellites and AI to monitor water on farms.
Definitely. It's all about precision agriculture. And there's this company, Farmonaut, doing some really innovative stuff.
Yeah, their article really caught my eye, especially this thing called NDWI. What is that exactly?
NDWI stands for Normalized Difference Water Index. Basically, it's a way to measure water content using satellites.
Okay, so instead of like sticking sensors in the ground, we're looking at it from space. That's wild.
Exactly. It's all about how light interacts with different surfaces. Water absorbs and reflects light differently than soil or plants. NEWI analyzes those differences to tell us how much water is present.
So we're basically reading the water signature of the Earth from orbit. That's incredible. But the article keeps mentioning NDWI classification too. How does that work?
Think of it like this. NDWI gives us a number, right? Classification takes that number and puts it on a scale, kind of like a water report card from space.
Okay, so what's a good grade when it comes to water content? Is it as simple as wetter is better?
Not quite. It depends what you're looking at. Think of it on a scale from -1 to +1.
Okay, so if 0 is like neutral, what does a negative number mean?
-1 would be the driest possible, like bone-dry desert. Anything below 0 is super parched, not great for farming at all.
Makes sense. As we move up the scale, things get wetter. Where do most of our crops and forests fall on that spectrum?
Right around 0 to zero point 0.2, you've got your healthy, well-hydrated vegetation. Enough water to thrive, but not too much.
Okay, so those lower numbers are actually ideal for a lot of plants. What happens as we go higher, say from point 0.2 to point 0.4?
That's where you start to see areas with a lot more water. Think like a well-irrigated field after a good rain, or a wetland, maybe even a lake.
So pretty damp. And anything above point 0.4, those areas must be completely saturated.
You got it. Above point 0.4, you're talking oceans, major flooding, basically. Way too much water for most plants to handle.
This is blowing my mind. We can tell all this just by analyzing light from space. That's amazing.
It's pretty remarkable what we can do with this technology. But what's even cooler is how this information translates into real, tangible benefits, not just for farmers, but for everyone.
Okay, now you've got my attention. How does knowing all this about water content actually help farmers, and what does it mean for folks like me who are just, trying to eat healthy?
Well, for starters, think about irrigation. Using water efficiently is a huge deal in agriculture.
Right, every drop counts, especially with climate change and water scarcity becoming bigger and bigger issues.
Exactly. And with NDWI, instead of just watering on a set schedule, which is pretty common, farmers can actually see which parts of their fields need water and which parts don't.
So no more guessing games. This technology gives farmers a much more precise way to manage their water use.
Exactly. It's about making sure each plant gets exactly what it needs when it needs it, which is good for the environment and good for business.
So less waste, lower costs, it's a win-win.
But hold on, we were talking about the benefits for everyone, not just farmers. How does this tech actually trickle down to us at the grocery store?
Imagine this. You're at the store, picking out some produce, maybe a nice head of lettuce. You take out your phone, scan a QR code, and boom, you can see exactly how much water went into growing that lettuce, how efficiently it was irrigated, the whole story.
Wait, seriously, we're talking about tracking the actual water footprint of our food.
Exactly. And Farmonaut is already integrating their NDWI data into these blockchain-based traceability systems.
Wow, so it's not just about knowing where your food came from, but how sustainably it was produced. That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if that kind of information was readily available, wouldn't that change how people shop?
Absolutely. Transparency is key. Informed consumers can drive demand for more sustainable practices.
And it's not just about individual choices, right? This kind of data could have huge implications for, like, global food security, wouldn't you say? 100%. We talked about drought prediction, but think bigger. If we can track water use and predict yields accurately on a global scale.
We could get ahead of potential food shortages.
Exactly. Combine that with data on weather patterns, market trends, suddenly you've got this incredibly powerful tool for managing the global food system.
That's mind-blowing. So we've got this one technology that's helping individual farmers, but also giving us a whole new perspective on the global food system at the same time. It's incredible. And if I remember correctly, the Farmonaut article mentioned that they're already working on even more advanced applications of this technology. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, they're pushing the boundaries. Higher resolution imagery, AI analysis, they're even talking about real-time NDWI data.
Real time, like farmers could see what's happening in their fields, like minute by minute.
Imagine a farmer getting an alert on their phone, hey, this section of your field is showing signs of stress. You might want to adjust the irrigation.
Wow, talk about responsive. That's incredible.
It's like giving every single plant a voice, letting it tell us exactly what it needs, when it needs it.
That's amazing. And it goes beyond just water, right? What else could NDWI tell us in the future with the help of AI?
Think about it. Early disease detection. Imagine being able to pinpoint a problem in a single plant before it even spreads. Or using NDWI data to fine-tune the nutritional content of crops.
So not just more food, but better, healthier food.
Exactly. NDWI is giving us this incredible window into the inner workings of our planet's ecosystems.
It's like you said earlier, all starting with a simple idea, analyzing how water reflects light. Who knew it could lead to such profound insights?
It really makes you wonder what other groundbreaking discoveries are out there, just waiting for us to make the connection.
It really makes you think, what if we could see that kind of data in our everyday lives? Would it change how we think about the food on our plates?
I think it absolutely would. Imagine checking the NDWI of different regions, just like you check the weather forecast in the morning.
So instead of just seeing sunny skies or rain clouds, you'd also see which agricultural areas are water stressed, which ones are using resources efficiently.
You would paint a whole new picture, right? Suddenly, that cup of coffee from a drought-stricken region, it hits differently.
Right. Or maybe you're choosing between two avocados at the store, one with a high NDWI score, meaning it was grown with less water, and one with a lower score. They could definitely sway your decision.
It's about connecting the dots between our choices and the impact they have. And that kind of awareness, multiplied across millions of people, that's powerful.
It is. It's not just about individual choices either. Think about the big picture: governments, food companies, even restaurants.
Exactly. What if policies about water conservation or agricultural subsidies were informed by this kind of data? What if food companies factored NDWI scores into their sourcing decisions?
That's a whole different ballgame. Suddenly, sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's something you can actually measure and track throughout the entire system.
And imagine the potential for innovation. If we start incorporating NDWI data into everything from crop development to supply chain management, who knows what kind of solutions we could come up with.
This is really getting me fired up about the future of food. It's amazing to think that it all goes back to something as simple as analyzing how water reflects light.
It just goes to show there's so much we can learn if we pay attention to the world around us.
Absolutely. Huge thanks to Farmonaut for opening our eyes to this incredible technology. For our listeners, be sure to check out their website. We'll link it in the show notes if you want to dive even deeper into the world of NDWI. And maybe next time you're at the grocery store, you'll look at your food with fresh eyes and think about the journey it took to get there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.